There's a quote that says, "A mother is she who can take the place of all others, but whose place no one else can take." Today, on Mother's Day, we wanted to go beyond the flowers and the brunch tables and have a real conversation about what it means to hold a baby in one arm and build a business with the other. Both of them are demanding babies. I'm joined by someone who does exactly that. She didn't start her entrepreneur journey at 22 with a pitch deck and a dream. She spent nearly 2 decades in tranches with the Oberoi Group, with Pizza Hut, with Chai Point, and many more before founding one of India's most beloved food brands. And then, in the middle of scaling a company across 6 cities, she also became a first time mom. She's the co founder of Samosa Party, a brand that has turned India's most iconic street snack into a national institution. With 110 plus outlets across 6 cities, at LVX, we were one of the early backers of this journey. And today, we get to see the founder in the whole new light. Thank you, Diksha Pande, for joining us today.
Thank you, Pallavi. That is a very apt description of, both entrepreneurship and motherhood going side by side. And thank you to LVX for always being our backers, not just one round, but I think we have continuously worked on a couple of rounds together. So excited to be building further from here on.
Awesome. We are cheering for you, Diksha,
Thank you.
always. So, Diksha, most people see Samosa Party, the outlets, the scale, the growth. But I want to start somewhere more personal. Walk us through what a typical day actually looks like for you right now. You're running a fast scaling brand across 6 cities, and you're also a new mom. How does a single day hold all of that? And more honestly, how do you hold it all together?
So honestly, I don't think the idea is to hold everything together at once, right? Because you can't. There is so much chaos, there is so much going on both sides, whether it is professional or personal life. So you really cannot hold everything together. I think the best formula that I have found is that, to make peace with the near perfect and not necessarily perfect. No 2 days are going to be the same. On certain days, you have more office visits and you have a more calm, sort of a predictable day where you're doing things in the office and things are all right at home. You have more visibility to what your day is going to look like. And then there are days when, you're traveling, you're on the road, you're probably opening new outlets across different cities. And all of this is happening with the baby also traveling with you. So while he's at the hotel or, he's probably with you in the store. So it is chaotic. It is a lot of things that are happening all together. But like I said, the best formula is to not try and hold everything to perfection, but let it take its own course. Of course, you have guardrails of what you want to achieve on any given day, both at home as well as, at work, and you try and fulfill that to the best of your abilities. But yes, drop the bar a little bit if required. I think that is how you hold it all together.
And that's the most raw and honest thing you said, Diksha, because the mothers are actually beating themselves for, feeling guilty all the time on missing on one thing or the other and trying to do everything. So thank you for saying that out and loud. They say that becoming a mother's rewires you. Everyone says that. But no one tells you exactly how, because motherhood never comes with the any handbook. We are never given any set handbook to follow. So for you specifically, how has it changed the way you lead, build, or make decisions at Samosa Party? And on the flip side, has being an entrepreneur made you a better mom or vice versa?
I think while both are equally demanding roles, right? And obviously, I think being responsible for a baby's life is even more demanding than running a company. But they're very similar in many ways, right? Number one, your learning curve is very steep, both as founder as well as a mother. Both don't come with a handbook, to be honest. Nobody teaches you how to even be a good founder or a bad founder, right? So both of it is very, very similar in terms of the learning curve that you go through. Number two, the responsibilities and the burden and the weight of that is very heavy in both cases. You're responsible for people's lives, livelihoods. You're responsible for investor money and returns. You're responsible for your own ambitions. And on the other hand, at home, you're responsible for this tiny little human being who now depends on survival. His survival depends on you, right? So they're very similar in a way. And I think one has led to the other in terms of learning and personality enhancement on both sides, right? I think at work you become more emotionally available to others. You have a lot more perspective in terms of how you lead the rest of your teams. There are, I would honestly say that, it also expands your horizon of people you meet when you have kids. Your circle becomes a little different. So in my case, I think it has also given me perspective to younger families and how they spend their time eating out.
Correct.
How do they order and how do they eat out? So that's gotten related to looking at that segment of consumers, and say when a consumer from say from a couple, they go to a family, what happens to their eating out? How do they make decisions of ordering in, or how do we cater to them at Samosa Party? So both of these roles have fed into each other in terms of both learning and execution, and I'm deeply grateful for that, for both.
Oh, nice. So there's a lot of advice out there for founders, for new mothers, but the overlap between the two is a surprisingly lonely place. What's one thing you wish someone had told you before you stepped into both the roles at once? And, in the course, what have you actually let go of? A standard you held for yourself, a habit, expectation that just couldn't survive this season, actually.
So I think, like I said earlier, right, there will be no perfect days, and there will be no there will, you will have to hold yourself accountable to not being able to deliver on certain days, right? So you have to find that harmony. You have to find the balance of what wins today. There are days where the work needs you a lot more, and there are days which could be critical days like vaccinations or just in general, right? If you have a baby, you know that there is no predictability around how their moods can swing. So you do know that there could be a day where the startup wins, and there could be a day where family wins, and you'll have to balance it all together. As long as you're making your peace with it, I think you also find a way of making both of them work together, right? What you don't achieve today can be rolled over to tomorrow. What's also important is, I think, like you said, what is the one thing that I've sort of let go of? I think there's a lot more clarity on where I'm required and where I can let go of, which means delegation has gotten better, both at home and at work. And choosing where to spend your time, who to spend your time with, you become particular about that. And that leads to a lot more clarity, that leads to a lot more team members being empowered a lot more, because things that you were doing personally earlier could now be handed on to others, which you would otherwise probably not, right? And I think it's a good thing, because you do have to learn how to let go at some point, both on the personal front as well as at work.
That's amazing words of wisdom, Diksha. It's like being present in the moment, much more organized, more empathetic about the people around you, and be present in the moment without being guilty. Because it's
Absolutely.
important to divide your time and give the importance of priority for that piece at that particular moment. Or
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
are
If you
very
have to push something for that time being, you have to push it, right? And because there's no point feeling that, oh, I'm present in a particular location while I should be doing something else. Once you've shut your mind to it, you've shut your mind to it. Don't think about it again. Think about what could you do? What is the next best thing that you can do,
yeah.
right? And focus on that.
And now the last question, Diksha, and I think it's the most important one. Before your son arrived, what did success look like for you? And what does it look like now? Because I have a feeling that answer has shifted in ways that no milestone on a company journey can quite capture, actually.
So I think, parenthood in general, and I will not just comment for mothers. I think parenthood, I say this on behalf of also my husband and co-founder, right? It grounds you very differently. It's a reality check of life that this is what matters. And especially as startup founders, when you're building a company, you're giving it your all. Everything takes a back seat, right? That is the one thing that you're focused on, you're building together, and your day begins and ends with conversations about your startup and how do you want to scale, where do you want to go, what the journey should look like in the future. But parenthood actually resets all of that and gives you perspective about this is what matters in life. This is so much bigger than anything and everything that you've done so far. The responsibility, the joy, the excitement, the longevity, right? Because that's permanent, and that's what you are blessed with as parents. So it resets your perspective to an extent. So you no longer chase short-term milestones. You no longer beat yourselves over just numbers and measurables. I think you become more grounded in terms of what's the kind of legacy you want to create. And personally, as a mother, I would want to do work that my son, when he gets to an age where he understands what I do, he should feel proud of us, right? And he should feel involved in what we do. So that is also the reason why we get him a Samosa Party uniform and take him to all the locations that we can. But yes, it is definitely a very grounding journey from here on, and it helps you think a lot more long term than you would otherwise, in my personal experience.
Something tells us your son is, already growing a proud son since the time he did not even
Well,
arrive.
touch wood.
So thank you, Diksha, for your time, your openness, and for keeping it beautifully real. And for this reminder, and it's a most important reminder that it's okay to let something go. Lean on the people around you and still call it a win. To every
Absolutely.
mother out there, you're doing so much better than you think. At LVX, we have always believed in backing founders who build with both ambition and heart. And today, on Mother's Day, we want to take a moment to celebrate every mother in our ecosystem, the founders, the investors, the builders who show up every single day carrying more than one world on their shoulders. You are not just building companies, you are building the future. Thank you, Diksha, for that reminder.
Thank you, Pallavi. Great talking to you. Happy Mother's Day to everyone listening.